Hey you guys, in this video I am going to be tapping and scratching on this lovely rainbow bath bomb. This is a custom video for Sol. Thank you so much, Sol, for your custom videos. She's a huge supporter of the channel and has been for a while and has done other customs, so really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and I really hope you enjoy. Super excited because we're going to scratch on the ball after I open this, and we're also going to lay out all the sands that come from the bath bomb and trace in them. Okay, so that's what you have to look forward to. I've got this kind of wood table this evening because I wanted a bit of a bigger space so I can trace through the bath salts or whatever this is. Okay, so let's open this guy up. There's a nice kind of sticky bit here. This bath bomb is from a company called Bubbles. I've done some videos with some of their soaps, even one recently, a soap scratching video, and this is one of their bath bombs. I was so excited when I looked at the selection. I saw the white one. I was like, that's boring, I want like some other colours. But they had like an orange one, and I did an orange colour the last time I did something like this. And then like a light blue that wasn't that exciting. But I was super excited when I turned this around and I saw the rainbow colours on the inside, because it meant we were going to get some really good colour. So we're just going to chat a bit in this video. Saul requested me to tell some of my chit-chatty stories about living overseas, travel, that sort of stuff. So here we go. It's going to be fun to see like when the colour starts coming. By the way, kind of wanted to get you guys your opinion. Through the summer here in Egypt where I live, I usually have to have the air conditioner on in the background of my videos because it's crazy hot here, but also because there's a lot of outside sounds, I call them in Egypt, just street sounds in general, and they can be a bit overwhelming. It's like trying to film in New York City, basically. Anyway, so I usually have that like AC white noise in the background when it's hot, but now that it's cold, I'm not sure what your preference is. Some of you really like the white noise of like an AC humming in the background, and it covers those outside honks and dogs barking and all the things. But I know some of you also kind of like the outside sounds. So you're gonna have to let me know. This video I'm filming at a time where we shouldn't get too many outside sounds. Sometimes there's just tons of sounds all the time. But right now we should be pretty good. So let me know if you're okay with this amount of sound that we're filming with this evening, or if you prefer white noise. So basically, white noise or street sounds is the question. You can let me know, maybe in the comments. You can just write prefer white noise, or you prefer no white noise, just that natural kind of sound of the streets. Of course, I always edit out like large, like honking noises that come out of nowhere, but like listen right now. There's like someone going by with some music. We've got sellers that go by our apartment selling different items, all sorts of things. Okay, I'm gonna start scratching kind of closer to the center because I want to get some color out of there. These are my natural nails, by the way. I'm so excited that they're finally all kind of long enough to just film a video with without fake nails. We've got a little bit to work with so far, but I want to get more. Alright, stories of travel. Oh my gosh. Or just like living in Egypt, she said, like things you love about living here, things that I don't love about living here. I'll share first of all some really funny things I've seen recently. So I'm gonna go with things I've seen on the street this week and pretty recently. The other day, just 2 nights ago, we were driving home from something and there was a car next to us on like a pretty fast street, and there's just like 2 like maybe 12-year-old boys like sitting with the trunk of the cars like open, and they're just sitting in the trunk with their feet out and driving like that, just hanging out in the back of the car on a main road. Like, I remember posting another video like that where there's like a kid with his head outside the sky window just like dancing like a little kid while the family's just driving down a regular street. And some people are like, well, we see this in the US too sometimes. I'm like, yeah, but you see it in like a really rural area, not in a big city. Like, there's no comparison. This is like a big city, like the capital. There's cars everywhere, there's people everywhere, and still people are doing funny things like that, and it's not illegal, you know. I feel like I'm not really getting to the colour. What do you think? Okay, maybe I'm just gonna start doing a bit from here then too. I like watching it fall. Is that nice to watch it fall down like that? Kind of got a snowy feeling to it, doesn't it? So that's one thing I saw. I try to get videos when I pass funny things like that, but I can't always make it in time because you see it kind of last minute. One of the funniest ones, which I've posted on the channel before in like day in the life videos and other videos, are where like people are taking a ride on the back of cars here on the rollerblades. So people like will wear rollerblades, and then to go faster, to get somewhere further, to go to a place they're going, they'll hitch a ride. They'll just like hold on to the back of a car, and as the car drives, they just hold on to it. It's not like they know the person. You just suddenly might have someone on rollerblades attach themselves to your car and ride with you for some time. And it's hilarious because like young kids that do it, and it's just the funniest thing. So I see that fairly often actually. And then it's also really common, I saw the other day, but I see this all the time, like a family on a motorcycle. And when I say family, I mean it could be 5 people, a mom, a dad, a baby, and like 2 children, just all stacked in a row on the motorcycle. That's really normal here. And then we saw the funny. This was also 2 nights ago. So we saw a truck, and we have these things here called tuk-tuks, or they're called different things in different countries, but they're these little tiny cars, I guess, or like carts almost. They have like a top to them, but they're really small. In fact, the noise you're hearing now might be one of them. And they're like these little, we called them autos where I lived in India in the past, so you probably have different names for them, but they're these little vehicles that they don't take you super far, but you can catch them and pay for like a short trip somewhere to take you from one spot to another. And there was one on a truck because it was broken, so it had been picked up to probably be fixed or something. But as we got closer to it, I saw this, like someone sitting in the auto, or what do we call it here, tuk-tuk. There's like a woman. You can see the figure of a woman underneath blankets because it's late at night and it's quite cold out, and it's on a road that's pretty fast actually, and so it's like the wind is blowing, it's very hot. And I just see the outline of this woman in a blanket, just covered her head and her legs, and she's sitting in the tuk-tuk on the truck. It like, only as you get up close, you're like, is that a, yeah, that is. There's someone in that tuk-tuk. Ah, we're getting there, we're getting some more. I'm feeling like we're not going to get to the colour unless I put this in water, because even if I go here, it's kind of like rough. Hear that? We'll see what happens. So the things that I love about living in Egypt, so many things. Things like what I just told you about, they're hilarious to me. It's just so funny. There's just no rules. I mean, literally, you can see a guy on a motorcycle with a huge pane of glass and he's just holding it. You can see people. I put a video on the channel once where someone had their dog, not a small dog, a big dog on their motorcycle with them. The tail's like wagging in the wind. He was happy. He was with his owner. He's used to going on the motorcycle apparently. So that kind of stuff just cracks me up. But the thing that I really love is the hospitality and the warmness of Middle Easterners in general. The hospitality in the Middle East is unmatched, in my opinion. It's just a way of life. It's just a way of communicating with people that, you know, everyone is everyone's neighbor, it feels like. Even when you're driving in the car and someone like cuts you off, the way you refer to them is like uncle. You're shouting at them, but you're shouting like, you just cut me off, uncle. It's just a very warm culture. There are cultures that tend to be more warm and tend to be more cold as a culture. Neither is bad or good in and of itself. There's pros and cons to both in a sense, but it's just a very warm culture and I really like that. I like very warm cultures. I remember getting off of a flight in Germany one time, and I was getting off the flight taking, I think it was like a bus or a train from Germany to Switzerland, and I got into this little bus from the plane to take me to one stop and then the train, and the particular moment I'm going to refer to is actually, I think it was in the bus from the plane to like the airport where then you could go out, blah blah blah, you get it. I get in there and I didn't really realise it when I was in the plane as much because the planes are so loud, you know, there's so much noise just being in the air. But we got into this bus and it was completely silent. Silence. No sound. The other thing that was hilarious was it was a bunch of businessmen wearing suits, like dark suits, mostly black, and then me, and I was likely wearing something fairly colourful, and I have my backpack and I've got the things, and I'm just kind of, what's the word, like a frumpy situation compared to the like very formal, everyone's sitting very nice with a briefcase looking very fancy. Everyone's very polite, very quiet, you know. And I remember this moment very vividly because I was so hungry and I wanted to eat this bag of chips that I had in my backpack. This doesn't even sound real, but it's real. And I slowly open up my backpack, like the quietest, just trying to be so quiet as I undid the zipper. Then I reached in, I was like, this is probably a really bad idea, but I'm so hungry, and like, we're just on a bus, like, you can't, it's not, like, I can't eat this, we can eat something if we want. I like tried to open it, it was like crinkle, crinkle, crinkle. It's just like, and I took one and I ate it, and I was like, yeah, I can't do this, this is so incredibly awkward. So, another experience in that part of the world, it was Switzerland. One of my best friends is from Switzerland, so I was visiting her, and I remember walking down the street. This was probably one of my first times in Europe, and I'm from the US. We usually like smile at each other when we walk by on the streets or wave. It's not quite like it was on that bus, like there's not as much formality or that style of kind of European culture. It's just so different from American culture, but then on top of that, it's like miles away from Middle Eastern culture, you know. And so I'm walking down the street and I see a person, and so of course I smile. I'm like, hello. Literally didn't blink. They didn't blink, they didn't look, they didn't pay any attention. I was like, wow, that was really awkward. And then I realised, wow, I'm really not accustomed to like European culture, and not all European cultures, but Germany and Switzerland were both pretty like, you know, like formal, straight. You don't look and you don't say anything. So that's a more of a colder culture style. And again, it's not necessarily a bad thing. There's really big pros in that too, okay? Because it gets wild over here and you really want some peace and quiet sometimes. And you just want people to mind their business and just leave you alone. Because it's the complete opposite here in Egypt. It's very warm. I mean, you guys, oh, I've got a perfect story. Oh my gosh, I just remembered this. I'm coming back from the US just now. And I'm like, I'm on the plane. Let's draw a little plane that's gonna look a lot like maybe a flying fish, but that's okay. This is the airplane. I'm on the plane. I'm sitting here. Next to me, cute old Egyptian woman. Next to her, her cute old Egyptian husband. This is the first time they've ever been on a plane. So we're sitting together and we're just waiting for everyone to get on the plane. I think I've just come to the point where I'm accepting we're going to just use the white because it's not coming. Maybe I'll do another video with just the bath bomb because I can't really get out the colours. But or maybe I'll grab something to like, yeah, maybe. Anyhow, so I'm sitting there on the plane and I've got these two cuties next to me. And it's very clear it's their first time. In fact, it's a lot of people's first time on a flight that I typically take. When I go to the US, I go from Cairo to Saudi Arabia and then Saudi Arabia to my home in the US. And my family's home, I should say. Okay, I actually just went and got some scissors. I'm going to finish the story, don't worry. But I just want to like see if we can get a little bit of colour. Ooh, that's nice. Satisfying, but is there actually colour in here? Or are they just teasing us? Sounds nice. You guys, where's the rainbow? It's got to be in here somewhere. Wait a minute, I'm seeing some colour. Yes, I see some green. Glad I got the scissors. There was no way my nails were gonna do the trick to get us all the way here. while I do this, I'll keep telling you the story, and then we're going to do some tracing. So we're sitting there waiting for everyone to get on the plane. Most people, it's like they're often on flights from Cairo to Saudi Arabia. It's the people's first time flying because they're going for what's called Hajj, or for Umrah, I think it's called, which is basically they're going to Mecca, which is a big one of the pillars of Islam, which a lot of people in Egypt practice Islam. So it's like an important place for people to go in Islam, and so sometimes it's the person's first time flying because they're going on this important pilgrimage essentially. So I was aware of that. I picked up on that pretty quickly. These cuties next to me were like, what's going on with all everything? So suddenly I'm just sitting there. I'm here. The cute one, I can't speak. The cute woman and then the cute old husband. So I have my backpack under my seat over here, and I've got a water bottle right here in my backpack under the seat. Out of nowhere, again, we're not in the air yet even, we're just like sitting, people are coming through the aisles, getting on, putting up their suitcases, and this cutie just reaches over and I just see his hand going down. It's like, that's kind of coming into my space, that's in my space, that's in my backpack, he's grabbed my water bottle. Sure enough, just grabs my water bottle, just grabs it, and then looks at me, and I'm like, okay, just take my water bottle. Like, it's a plastic one, it's like a reusable one, so it wasn't like he didn't reach for something that was like a that you keep. It's just one of the, not reusable, it's one of the recyclable simple plastic water bottles. So I just thought it was adorable, and I looked at him in like in Arabic. I was just like, we don't have a word for this in English. Basically like, you're welcome to it, here you go, take that, sir, And it was like way after he had it in his hand though. Like, he didn't ask for permission. He just reached and grabbed it and then looked at me. It was like he did like the sign for like he wants water, because there's no water in my bottle. I forgot to mention, it's an empty water bottle. He just grabs it as like a vessel for getting water somehow. So then he's like, I'm just like, there you go, take that, you're welcome to it. And then he like calls to one of the stewardesses to ask for water, and they keep doing this signal to him. Basically it's like, wait, we're in the middle of getting everyone on the plane. This is not the time we pass out water usually, but he was besting. Anyway, it was just hilarious the way he just reached over and grabbed my water bottle, and that was it. Never seen it since. He took it, he used it, that was that. It's his. But on that flight, literally, you guys, it's the sweetest thing. I think it's the sweetest thing. As people get on the flight, they're just talking to each other. Ya Habibi, Ya Habibi's like, my love. You just talk to people like it's your neighbour, even though you've never met them. And you're getting on a plane. Normally you get on a plane and everyone's like kind of just doing their own thing, very individualistic. But no, this is the Middle East. Everyone's talking, helping each other, interacting with each other, talking to their neighbours, laughing with each other, just like, it's a community on a plane, you know what I mean? That's what I mean by warm and cold. That's what's usually used as describing different kinds of cultures, warm cultures. And in my studies of linguistics, I studied linguistics, that's what my degree is in, and that's the study of language. We do a lot of studying of culture too, and so that's one of the differences in cultures, Okay, let's start tracing a bit here. So yeah, it's just so adorable that you get on the plane and everyone's just talking to each other. It's a communal kind of situation, which is not typically what you experience on a plane, unless you're on, I've experienced it on a few other flights, like India. I definitely felt like I was in India, just in the air. They're like people on the floor just like having some like food together, literally, I kid you not. That was probably a lot of years ago, but that happened. I've been on flights in Morocco that were also pretty communally oriented. I don't know. Actually, end of one of my flights, the Saudi Arabia flight, like from Egypt to Saudi Arabia or back, I forget which one, there was also a woman over here, and we're all getting off the plane at this point. So we've landed, we're getting off the plane. So you know how on some planes, if you're cold, you can ask for a pillow. So a lot of people ask for a pillow, so there's like a pillow here and there for people, right? Well, we're getting off the plane now, and there's this woman here, and she sees a pillow in front of her from a row that people have already left from. And so she starts shouting, and I mean like through the plane, like the whole plane, she's like shouting in Arabic, "Hey, you forgot your pillow, someone forgot their pillow, someone forgot their pillow." It's trying to get everyone's attention. And then literally like 4 or 5 of us were like, "That's the plane's pillow." She's like, "Oh, okay." So it's just a group effort, group situation. I also remember getting on that same flight again to Saudi Arabia, and there was a gentleman back here, I think it was like up here on the plane. He's back here and he's like, again, a lot of people, it's their first time on a plane, and most Egyptians don't want like the AC on them very much. There's like a fear of getting it cold and stuff, and so if you've ever been on a plane, you get on and they're like blasting the AC because there's a lot of people getting into a small space and they want it to not be too gross. So basically he's over here and people are getting on, and we're kind of getting all seated. By the time most of us are seated, you start to hear like him and some of his people next to him talking about the AC, that they don't want it's too cold in here, we've got to turn it off. So he starts like this almost like communal conversation where he's in charge and he's like, it's too much AC, right, you guys? The AC's too much. And they're all like, yeah, the AC's too much, AC's too much. So he starts shouting it like not shouting in a bad way, just like talking, but usually here talking is very similar to shouting. So the like male, what's the word? Stewardess, I guess it's just the flight attendant. He's like here, and this guy's like shouting to him, "We really want you guys to turn the AC down. We don't like how cold it is. Can you get that down for us?" They're like, "That's not how this works. We're not in control of like, the temperature. It's going to be cold now, and then we're going to take off, and like it's all a set procedure. We can't just like turn the AC down for you as a group." So that is the like communal kind of warm, everyone's together in a group kind of aspect that I love about Egypt. But I'm also from a culture that's not like that, so to me it's very like endearing, right? But if you grew up in Egypt and you grew up with like all the cars around you and all the donkeys around you and all the people around you and all the dogs and all the sounds, the music bumping from the tuk-tuks, everything, you're kind of like, a lot of people here just really wish they were in Switzerland with the hills and the cows on the hills with the little bells around their necks, and just quiet, everyone's minding their own business, no one's asking you questions, no one's saying hi to you in the streets, you just do your own thing and you live your own life, and there's no everyone being involved in everything you do. So again, there's pros and cons to each culture. And I think a lot of that depends on your personality. Pros and cons. But I think it's safe to say that I have chosen, as an adult, majority of my life to live in and be a part of what would be considered warmer cultures. I also lived in India. India is kind of a mixed bag when it comes to that concept, because then as a group of people, like a generalization, if you're, say, in a bus, you're going to have that community aspect again where people will be talking to each other and it's like making decisions as a group and all that stuff. Like, however, it is a part of Asia, and so the like generally people are a bit more to themselves or quieter, versus in the Middle East, there's just a lot of shouting and talking and very direct culture, direct communication, just right at it. You say it, you feel it, you say it, that's it. Whereas India has more of an indirect culture. So if you're communicating, actually it's you commute in Asian culture more like this. You want to get to the point, but you're kind of going around it. You don't want to be too direct. You don't want to say it too directly, but eventually you might kind of generally get there. Indirect communication style. So for example, when I lived in India, I'd be sitting with a bunch of teachers at the school that I worked at, all Indian staff. Everyone's sitting quietly, waiting for like a very formal principal to come in and do their thing. And we had a group of Americans that came to visit. Now I lived there, so I was within this culture, kind of going by these cultural rules, even though of course I was different, and in comparison to the Indian people I was much louder and stuff generally as an American. However, I lived there for long enough that like I understood the general cultural rules and stuff like that. Well, this group of Americans comes in, they sit in this conference center and they've just got their feet up and they're chilling and they're talking and they're laughing, and like we kind of were, the Americans were kind of like the Middle Eastern culture coming into an Asian culture at that point. So I was a bit embarrassed. I'm just gonna write EMB, embarrassed, because I'm like, guys, they're so uncomfortable right now. All these cute little Indian teachers are like so quiet and like just sitting waiting formally for the principal, and then we just like barge in Americans and we're just like blah 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 blah. It's actually very endearing also, I think, when Americans come in and there's just like a freedom that flows with Americans that does have some of that quality, that Middle Eastern kind of just direct, come on in. And I do think Americans generally, I just love the freedom that we do have in the US compared to other countries. So everyone's a bit different to be themselves and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a memory that I have, is all these Americans kind of coming into the room and me being like, oh gosh, you gotta be a little quieter, you guys, you're making them uncomfortable, but at the same time, like when I talk to my Indian friends, they find it refreshing, you know. It's like, oh, it's so nice, they come in, they're so free, they're talking to each other, they're so happy, you know, like, so do a few little designs here. Okay, let's see. Talking about India a bit, so let me do a little kind of henna design that you might see in India. So actually there are these powders that people do use in India to make decorations on kind of the front of their home, on the ground in the front of their homes or businesses or workplaces. and it's for different like holidays in India. They typically Hindu holidays that people do those designs in the powder for. So I didn't do a good one, but you know, actually in India they do very, very intricate designs in powder like this, and it's really fun to see. Okay, I just want to get a little bit more powder, just because I want to see if there's any more colour in here. We've got green and blue. Oh, I think I might see a tiny bit of maybe yellow. Maybe my eyes are deceiving me. I'm just gonna do around the corners a bit here, just to kind of make it so I can get into the middle better. Okay. I think I'm still only seeing blue and green. Try and face the camera so you can see also. Maybe you like the other colours on the other side. That's okay. I guess we're going to just have to like do a video with the rest of this bath bomb. Okay, let's see, what design do we want to make? Okay, let's see. What are some things that I don't like about Egypt? What do I not like? Well, that's actually quite easy for me to answer. The thing that I really don't like, there's a handful of things, but the main thing that makes me really sad is that there's lots of animals on the streets. And they just mostly aren't taken good care of. Like they don't have their needs met all the time. So that really bothers me, and I'm trying to did finally find some organizations to work with to kind of help with this problem. Basically, there's like these programs where you can do it's called trap, neuter, release, I think is the phrase. So you get the dog or the cat off the street, and then you neuter them to make sure they can't reproduce, just to decrease the amount of like animals being born on the streets, that then they don't have to suffer, you know. And then you return them or release them back to their home, because each little dog and each little cat, when they have babies, they've got like so many that come, and a lot of them don't make it, you know. But you still have so many, like it's just growing exponentially. So I don't like that, and it breaks my heart every single day. So that's something that I kind of want to help out with if I can, and I've told you guys that I'm gonna at some point get you guys involved with that, because I know a lot of you care about that too. But yeah, thankfully I have found 2 groups that I think I'm going to look into. The next step is to actually meet with them and see what they do, and see which one would have like a good option for like donating, because I want to make it possible for you guys to donate from the US, but I want to make sure they have a formal way of doing that, you know, and not all the organizations here do. So still working on it. What else do I not like? It's all the animals. I don't like the donkeys, how they're treated. I don't like how the horses are treated. I don't. And then I don't like that there's a good amount of people that just some basic needs aren't met, that do live like on the streets and stuff like that. Like with families, people live in groups. It's not like an individual like homeless person most of the time. It's like families, like that's just their life and where they grew up, and they sit and they beg for money on the streets and stuff. So I don't like that either. It makes me sad. So besides those things, and I also don't like that there's trash everywhere in Egypt. I wish that we could do better with that here, where we're starting to do better in some of the cities. So like some of the biggest cities have like trash programs, so it's not like trash is everywhere. But like where I've lived, every time where I've lived in Egypt, there's just trash everywhere. And just because Egypt is so amazing. Egypt has so many incredible things, like the Nile River and the pyramids, and incredible architecture and culture and music and outdoor bazaars. So if every person just stopped throwing their trash on the ground when they're walking or on the car, they just throw it out the window, then it would just be so much more beautiful. So those are the only things I don't like. But yeah, one of my favourite things is the outdoor bazaar. It's this amazing place with shops everywhere, and it's got lights and people moving everywhere and food and music, and it's just so magical. I love the belly dancing, I love the music. It's just such a lively culture. There's a lot of life. Let's see if I can do an upside down F. Is it like this? Hopefully. Did I do it correctly? So that's going to be it for this evening. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoy. Thank you so much to Sol for your custom video. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day or night, and I hope to see you in the next videos. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day or night.